Hey everyone, it's Jason. So today I'm going to bring Kingdom Rush Rift in Time. I've already done unboxing videos. You can go back and check them out if you want to see all the different components in there. With the it's game found, for the new standalone expansion, Elemental Uprising. I thought it'd be a great time to show off a game. And I say it's a standalone expansion because it is an expansion. Essentially, it's more of the game. It's the same game. It plays 90% the same way. The base mechanics are the same, but they have some different tweaks and stuff in there. And the hero characters from one game can be transported to the other game and vice versa. But the games can't be 100% mixed together, just because they play slightly differently. And the big difference is, one of the big differences is this game has portal cards, which add special, which I'll show you, add special different cards you have to beat to win each scenario. And the other game doesn't have that, but it adds a bunch of different elemental tiles, which do different things. And elemental tiles have no place in the story campaigns, but hopefully they have a mode at the end of this game where you can mix and match cards from all the different base game expansions, and the other ones that have that too. Hopefully they have a crossover, at least to some extent, so you can mix and match all of them together, because that would be really cool. So to start off, I'm just going to kind of show you how to set up the game. So there's this great scenario book. At the beginning, it's going to explain general setup rules, getting all your stuff ready. There's different difficulty modes that you can choose from. So if you want basically easy mode, beginner mode, you pick this one. You're going to get number of stars, or heroic, depending on how good you do and what your challenge is. So therefore you can kind of pick and choose how easy, how hard you want it to be. And then you can challenge yourself, okay, so now I'm going to do it this time. I have 12 hit points. My kingdom can get 12 hit points. And I get some bonus setup things. But then later you're like, alright, let me try it. I'll try it with 8. And you keep the same amount. You get one less crystal. You can try it on basically it would be a standard type difficulty. 3 stars. And you can try it heroic, where it's really super challenging. And that's what makes the game kind of neat. So you can potentially beat this 4 different times, and actually 5 times, because if you buy the Spider Gods expansion, it adds another spider challenge to it. Then even on top of that, they have the Iron challenge in every one, which makes each mode a little bit more difficult. So there's potentially 6 different ways to play this. Anywho's. So here it's going to tell you what heroes you can play as. It says I do not use the Lilith character. If you can use spells, what towers you can use. I can't use level 4 towers because it's the first one in the game. Explains how you find your Horde cards. It's going to say what waves you want. So I want wave 0, I want the green ones, and wave 1, I'm going to want yellow. So on the bottom of back of each card are going to be different colors. Green, red, and orange. Orange, it's yellow. I call it orange. It looks orange to me. But they'll have a little number on the bottom which will show what wave number it is. And essentially that's the difficulty. Zeros are a little bit easier. Level 3s are quite a bit harder. It's just not necessarily more or less enemies. Can be, but it could just be ones with more or less abilities. Here's an explain some of the abilities. There's special portal cards they're going to have in there. It'll say the big ones for chapter 1 and the small ones for 1 and 2. And then over here it explains what order you're going to put them all in. So you're going to have your yellow, 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 portal, red, yellow, red, portal, red, red, in this stack. And that's going to determine the order. But see, that's the thing that makes this game also interesting, is I've played this once before, and I was going to try and record it. It didn't work. So I'm trying it again on a different device, different camera. So hopefully I don't have any issues this time. But now, all these cards, even though I have the same 4 yellow and 4 red, they're shuffled in different orders. So I'm going to end up with the same 4 cards in both games, but they could be in different orders, which might affect what happens. Also, with the green ones, there's 3 of them, but there's 4 in the game. So there's 1 that's left out. So not only are the 3 I have going to be in potentially different orders than last time I played, I'm also going to have 1 out. So there could be 1 that I didn't have last time or did have last time. So even with the same exact games, I watch people when talking about this game, like, oh, how do I do this? This was kind of difficult, or I struggle with this. And people are like, it's a puzzle. You just have to figure out the puzzle. Except it's not exactly, because a puzzle piece has, 100 pieces that always go to the exact same spot every time. This one, it can have the same pieces, but they're going to go in different orders. And they're also depending on what heroes you pick, because each hero plays differently and does different stuff. That's going to make a difference too. Also, like difficulty. Plus, here's on the side now, it's going to show how you set up, here's what tiles you need, how you set up your tiles, where your horde starts, where the exit is. And it's going to show you how to set up for each game. So if you're playing a 1-player, 2-player, 3-player, or 4-player game. And then there's little tiles on the bottom here, on the corner, other colors, purples, yellows, greens. They show you where your towers go. And that's where you can place, that's where your build sites are, rather, where you can place your towers. So that's all I have for map 1. Now if I flip to scenario 2 quick, just as a quick example, because it explains it a little bit nicer. So here it just shows what you can use, your hordes, your portals, your tiles, the order. And this has 2 different stacks. You're going to put 2 different ones. This first game only has 1. Special mechanics, if there are any, so it ups some stuff. Your layout, where your hordes go, and then how your different tiles work. And then later on, there's boss fights, which have so there's mini bosses and stuff that do different things. The other thing to point out on here is during this, it's going to show you how many crystals you start with, which are used for buying towers. If you get any spells or special abilities. So being the first game, they don't want you to have any spells or special abilities, just because they want you to focus on your characters. Alright, and then, so now if we're going to look at my board here. So how I have it set up is I have these 3D towers here. So I have the 3D set, the 3D set of the game. So I'm going to use my little 3D towers. If you didn't have them, you'd have these little clear overlays. You can see one's purple and one's green. So instead, they would just lay on the board like this. Show you where you can place your towers at. But since I bought the 3D stuff, I'm going to use the 3D stuff. And they're actually a lot nicer, because this is what one of the little towers looks like. So if I have my layout there, I'd place this and it would show me how I can do it. And if I need to pick it up, I probably need to kind of hold the one to pull it off. The 3D towers, they're really nice. They just kind of sit in there. You can pick them right up. So I would say if someone's looking at getting this game, I would recommend getting the 3D towers. So then to set our hordes, because I did not set my hordes out on the board, because I was going to show you how to do that. So like I said, it starts with 4 green ones, and I only need 3 of them. And why do I have 5 in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I have 5, I guess. Sorry, I have 5, and I only need 3. So that's actually even a little bit nicer. So I do is just set them on these little tray tiles here. And this helps hold them in place so you can slide them along the board. And I'm just going to flip them over right away and just put them where they go. So we can be set up. I only need 3 of them. So number 2 goes here. And you can see if you can kind of tell on my board if this is my exit. They start right next to the exit. Alright, so this is what one of the tiles looks like for the hordes. So what you're going to be doing is placing tiles based on what towers and what your hero abilities are on to try and cover all of these squares. You don't have to worry about the light colored ones. And that's going to determine if you can beat them. There's a little line on the bottom which shows what direction they go. So they always go this direction. A square like this, it doesn't make a difference, but it will for some of these other ones where they're different shapes. And then what you're going to do is you're going to have little tiles like these. They're called polyominoes. And so if you play an ability or a spell or whatever, they go on this card. So I can cover up 2 parts of that guy, or I could cover up all of him, or cover up those 2. Or if you had to, you could put one, like, off to the side, rotated up and down. And there's different shapes. There's like 2x1s. There's 1x1s. There's squares. One thing you can do is you can put your hero on there, and he can cover up 4 squares. And that's what you're just trying to do, is cover up all the tiles. And at the end of each round, if all the squares are coming up, that horde is defeated. If not, it moves another space. Oh, I just tipped over all my cards. Alright. So there are also other, like, little hearts for your characters, the crystals, and little soldier meeples that came in the set. I'm going to be using the 3D ones. So I'm going to grab my 3 crystals. And what crystals are used for are buying new towers at the end of rounds. There's little soldiers, which I'll explain them when I actually get to one of those. So the other thing I want to explain is the towers. So, for example here, I have 2 different towers. I have a magic tower and an archer tower. They're going to have a level down here in the corner. They go up to level 4. They have a ability type, so it's melee or magic, or physical or magic. They can also have true damage, which is like a purple sword. So it's like a sword covered in magic, so it does both. In this game, this particular one, that doesn't matter the scenario, it doesn't make a difference. There are later, especially the second one actually starts in, some of the horde enemies cannot be attacked by physical, some cannot be attacked by magic. So that's what the difference there is. And then they're also going to show these arrows on here. So, like, 1 arrow forward means you can place your tile here 1 space in front of it, whichever direction it's facing. The archer also has an arrow either direction, so I can place it forward, to the left, or the right. So the orientation makes a difference. So if I play this archer right there, I can put a tile straight forward, to this side, or to this side. So I got options, so I can put them on either one of these 2 horde tiles. If I put it this direction, though, it would be this one, or this one. So it'd only be that one for this particular game, for this turn. And the mage tower is the same way. I only have one direction. So it wouldn't make any sense for me to put it there because there's no tile there. So I want to make sure I put it on one of these, but only if it's actually going to benefit me. Because if I put it there but there's not a full L spot, I'm probably wasting it as a turn. The other thing that's going to make the difference with those are your towers. So, like, I have one character's the purple player, one's the green player. You can, like, place building towers on your own building sites. Here's another example of the bombardier. So this has, so you'll place 1 tile straight forward, and then 1 to the left or right. So you actually get two different tiles on here, and they can go in different spots. And again, orientation, which direction you do it, and how you play it is going to make a lot of difference. The last one is, I'll actually just explain the soldiers quick. So this one here is a militia. There's a couple different things on here. So when you play it, you're going to play 1 soldier straight forward. That's one of the little tiny meeples I showed earlier. And you put them on a card. The soldiers do 2 different things. Is one, they'll cover up a spot like a regular tile. But they also stop the tiles from moving. The same thing if you're a hero. If you have a hero or a soldier on there, on your horde tile, they won't move another turn. So that's why these guys are a little bit, you might not get as many space coverage on them as some of these other things, like covers up 1 space versus this covers up 3. You might not have the directional for all of them, but what makes them nice is because it keeps the hordes from advancing. So they're very beneficial to get. The other thing they do is they have this little picture down here that looks like a little build site, which look like these little clear tiles I had before. So what that is is that when you have a soldier tower, if I have it placed down on this spot, I can drop my soldier. You are allowed to place another tower on top of it. Anything with the soldier, you can build onto it again. Or, vice versa, if I had a different tower there, I could build the soldier on top of it. So soldiers can work in tandem with other things. If, like, I really needed one more spot covered, or I need to play this to stop that from moving, drop a soldier, and then you can play another thing on top of it and still get your range out of it. So soldiers are really versatile that way. And just to show like how crazy some of the level 4s get, this is a level 4 tower. So this is the Blade Slinger's Hall. So when I play this, I get forward, left, or right. I get one soldier plus an arrow, and then I get a soldier plus an arrow and a soldier. So you get quite a bit off of this card. And they all get pretty crazy like that. Like the mage one is going to get the 3 directions, and you're going to get a Z and an L. But it also has this little rotatable icon. That's another thing that's very important. If it shows this icon, means you can put that tile any direction. If it doesn't, you have to put it the direction it's facing. So again, it's going back to my mage tile here. I have an L block. I have to put it down like this. So, let's move this guy. So if I place this direction, my L tile has to go like that orientation. I can't put it a different way to fit in where it needs to go. It's not rotatable. So that also makes a difference on where you place your tiles, or your towers. Alright, the one other thing I have left to talk about towers is how you get more powerful ones. So on your turn, you can either play all your tiles. At the end of each round, you pick up all your towers so you can replace them again. So that's the one thing that makes this a little bit different than like the video game version, because you actually get to replay your towers every turn. So you can like rearrange them how they do. If you want a better tower, you have to pass a tower to another player. So if I want to, let's say, get, like, okay, I can't really get anything good with this mage this turn, I can pass it to the second player, or another player if I'm playing 4-player. And what you do is you put that tower back in the box, and then you take out the next level and you give them that level. So that's the upside about passing towers. Although, yes, it gives the another player more towers, and gives you one less. That's why you have to work as a team, because if player 1 is just passing all their towers, it's going to get back to their turn, and nobody passed them anything, they're not going to have anything to do on their turn, probably. So that's something to keep in mind. Just, when you're playing, you want to make sure you pass them. Also, something I learned after my first playthrough is you probably want to be passing your towers right away on the first turn. Maybe use one of the towers if you think you need to, but don't be spending a ton of them. And I'm getting my cards mixed up. But don't be playing out. That's what I did the first times. I played like all my towers, all my heroes. I got rid of almost all 3 Horde, but then which is great for the first turn, but then come like the 3rd turn, I was so far behind on my tower levels because they couldn't do as much. And I should have just focused on taking out one, letting guys move a bit, rather than trying to decimate everything on the first turn. Alright, other thing we want to go through before we get in, I'll kind of explain how the gameplay works as we play it. So here's one of my hero cards, or boards. So you have a spot up here where you put your incoming towers. There's a turn sequence just to keep track of it, since they put on every card. Some of the characters have an extra special ability. This is lasting abilities, keep active again a turn. So this doesn't help them this turn because I don't have my special abilities here. They do have a couple different ones. They look like little tiles like this. And then you flip them over and it says what they do. Some are just abilities. Something like this one lets him play some different soldiers and magic spells. It could definitely make this a lot more easy, but it's not going to let me do it. They have health, they have movement, so they can move. Your hero has to move X number of tiles. they have their starting towers down here. So this is also what makes every game a little less like a regular puzzle, because depending on which hero you have and how many players you have is determining which towers you start with. So the more players you have, each player starts with less towers. So you start with the same amount, I think, overall, but you have less to do. And then finally, each player has an activate hero, which comes with a little card like this. So you keep this in your hand. And then if I use my hero abilities, I can place this on him, and it's just as a reminder to everybody that I've used my ability this turn. Because although I'm placing tiles down, I might not defeat the enemy that turn, and then that way you know which ones you've used or not, or if you used it or not, so you're not trying to remember. And then each hero has a special ability, and if it has arrows on it, it's a ranged attack. So if Magnus here wants to use his special ability, he has to be one tile away, just like a tower, and he can do one rotatable purple. And if he's on a building site, he can place another one. So I could place him here, facing him this direction, and he can place a magic thing on the forward or the left or the right. And then he can place a second one. If I have him on this, though, covering up this enemy here, he can only place them on the ones in front of him. But then he's also effectively doing 4 damage on there, too. So it's the difference between doing 2 and doing 4. Ignis, on the other hand, he has a fist ability, so he has to be on the tile. So if he's standing on this tile, he can do damage. He can do damage to that horde by playing a 3 rotatable, like fire tile. But he also says if it covers exactly 2 enemies, I can place 1 additional one on each adjacent horde. So it makes that a little bit nicer. I can either put 3 on this one, or I could put 2 on this one and 1 on that one. So it kind of depends on, again, what you need to be doing. Do I want to take out that one next, or do I need to finish off this one? But he also has to be standing on it. And then the last thing just to mention before I actually start playing is for them standing on tiles, it stops them from moving. But if a horde tries to move, it does 1 point of damage to any hero or soldier that's on it. So there is the downside of having your hero on there. So if they stand on the enemy tiles too much, they might help defeat it, but they're also going to take damage. And the soldiers only have 1 health, so they're only going to last 1 hit. Also with that is they take the damage if they defeat the horde that they're standing on. So again, it's beneficial for them to help cover something up, but you might not want to have them stand on a horde unless you really need it to stop moving. Because if you leave them on there, it stops them when they take a point of damage, and then the next turn you beat it and they're still standing on there taking up them 4 spaces, you're going to take another point of damage. And since some of these guys only have like 3 health, they're going to die in 2 turns. And then if they do get tailed, they just go back to their tile. You have to wait a full turn to use them again. So it's not a terrible thing, but these games are going to go very quick because I'm bringing out two tiles every turn. So every full turn they're away. They don't do it. You can also choose to not play their special abilities or basic attacks and heal them a point of damage too. And you could, like, place Ignis here so this guy can't move. Don't do anything. Heal a heart. Take a damage at the end of the turn because he can't move. And then when they move, though, any of the hordes will jump over anything. So there's only 1 gap here. So if I don't get rid of anything and I have to play 2, this one's going to slide over and move. And I'm going to play 1 new tile here, and then the second one's going to jump right to the end and automatically do damage to me. So I have to take out, for sure, this one so he doesn't move, or at least put a hero on there. But even if I put a hero or a soldier here, this guy's going to move, he's going to leave the field, and I'm going to take damage. And you take 1 point of damage for each revealed hero, If it's a big one and none of them are covered, you take 4 damage. There's a little helper card that explains all that. There's healers, there's deadly, there's dead shots, there's speed. And we'll get into those as we come across them. And then, so basically you do for the turns is I'm going to spawn a new horde, which I'm not going to do this turn. You can play your heroes cards, you can play your towers, and there's not a specific order to do this. It's not player 1 go, player 2 go. You have to work as a team to decide what works best. So like deciding like what can I play where to do what. Like what works better, like who can do the most to cover the most damage. And then after that, then you check to see if any are destroyed. Any are destroyed, you remove them, you gain crystals, or bonuses if there are any. Then you advance all the horde trays, so everything moves forward once. You pick up all your towers, and then you can buy new towers. To buy a new tower, it's two crystals to buy a level 1, or 2 to buy a level 2. So you can buy level 2s and jump right up. And again, 3 to buy a level 2. And I do start with 3 crystals. So even if I didn't defeat anything for whatever reason on my first turn, at the end of my turn I can at least buy a level 2 and start that way. That's the basis of it. So we're just gonna, that was our setup. That's our kind of gameplay. And then we will hop in here and, see what we can do. Like I said, I lost last time. I'm not going to be surprised if I lose again this time. But we'll see what happens. It should be fun. So let's start our gameplay. Alright, for the gameplay, we have, again, we first spawn a new horde, but we skip that on the very first turn. Because obviously that would be unfair to do. And then now we can play our heroes and towers. And now each player starts with 3, because I'm playing a 2-player game. So I have 3 different towers. Like I said, they recommend focusing on doing your hero right away and seeing what they can do. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to place my Ignis. I'm going to take his hero card here. I'm going to place it over on his tile. Sorry you can't really see the character cards. I can turn this a bit. You can kind of see what I'm doing. You don't really need to see way over there. You can see my towers over here. If you see these trays, you're going to see me having a fumbling to get this stuff, and it's kind of a pain. It is. But if you bought the original game, if you got it through Kickstarter, the new campaign they're doing on GameFound will have, basically get like essentially a free upgraded trays for this, all the different polyominoes and your hero cards. So they snap shut, and then these are separate. There's a separate one for all the polyominoes, so you don't have to keep picking these up to find out what's underneath. So that's really cool. If you got it somewhere else, you bought it at a game store and you didn't like these trays, they're going to offer those as a separate purchase you can get as well. So definitely go check that out if this is something that interests you. So I think Ignis is going to start by covering up this big giant guy. And then now he can take one of these using his ability. Take one of the 3 ones, and he can do 3 damage to this guy, or he could do 2 and send 1 to that one. What I'm going to do though is, I think we're just going to do 3, cover up that one, and then we're going to let Magus go on there, so we'll cover up his, and now he gets a rotatable tile, because he's on the building site. I can put 1 there. So that takes care of that boss, or that horde. So I don't have to worry about that horde this turn. Unfortunately, I don't have any soldier towers, so I can't do anything about, taking out that. But what I'm going to do is we're going to drop 2 on that one, because yeah. Yeah, so that at least covers up that. Alright, so now I've used both of my hero abilities. Now I gotta see what I can use for towers. I do want to trade some towers and get some more powerful ones. What I would like to do is at least see if I can defeat that one, the second one, because then it gives me a little bit more time. But see if I can do it in the least amount of way possible. So, I have, for Magus, I have the Archer Tower, which does 2. I have a Mage, which has an L shape. And I have a Bombarder, which does 1 and 1. Well, I don't really need the 1 and 1 because I might, if I want to drop like 1 there, if I can cover up some of them other spots. I have to see what I can do. And Ignis has 2 Mages and an Archery. Now, the problem with the Mages is they can only attack straight forward. So, Magus, or Ignis having 2 of them, he only has 1 tower right now that can go straight forward to attack this one. So, I mean, what... And now, if you're playing normal, especially your first game, or game or two, first game with new players, I would definitely say you're allowed to pick stuff up and rearrange it to figure out what you want to do. I can definitely see people house ruling it. This is once you've placed it, like I have, they're stuck. But I don't see a problem with someone being like, well, what if I, kind of do that? No, I don't want. I'm gonna pick up my tower. Because again, it's kind of a puzzle, but you don't want to have people who are gonna sit here and spend 20 minutes trying to figure out like, okay, if I do this, I do this, I do this. Okay, that's the maximum thing I can do. You're gonna be that type of player. Just go play a solo game, or do what I'm doing. Play, a 2 or 3 player game, but play by yourself. Because games aren't fun when people sit there and spend 20 minutes trying to decide what to do. I might be taking a little bit longer than I normally would, just because I'm trying to explain it as well. So, here's our other issue we're gonna run into. Is what I needed to do, and I'm gonna let myself play around. I should have put Magus here, and put 1 there and a second one there. Reason for is when I had him here, I had no way of getting my Mage Tower to this one, because that's probably what I'm gonna want to do is drop a Mage Tower here, and I have to put my tile like that. So if we do that one, it covers up that. And I don't even need to defeat this turn. I could wait and defeat it next turn, and maybe leave like 1 spot open, and trade off my other tiles, but the more damage I can do, definitely the better. Now here comes an issue, is both of my Mage tiles for Ignis, if I play them, that L-shaped tile, so if I play a poly, because he only has, this spot's the only one you can play on there, would have to go this direction. So I could cover up those 2, but that's it. I wouldn't be able to get to the other 2. So is it worth it for him to spend this tile to do that, is the question. Or should I just trade both of them? Alternatively, I could play the Bombardier, and I'd only be able to do 1 point of damage there, but I could cover up 1 of those spots. So let's do that, and let's grab a Bombardier tile. And what we'll do is cover up that one. And then Magus is going to play his Archery Tower. So it lets me play a... Let me find one here. A 2x1, but I have to play it up and down. So if I play it this direction, I can attack this way, but I wouldn't be able to cover stuff. But if I play it this direction, I can angle it, and I can actually cover that spot. So it only leaves 1 little goblin left down there. I have the goblin and the orc covered up. So that tile is going to advance on my next turn, because I can't defeat it. I have nothing left to be able to defeat it with. If I had another Bombardier tile for Ignis, I could have, shot one more that direction. Or if I had a soldier build site, I could have dropped the soldier on there. Now, I could play my other tiles over here and try and take out that. But I do want to trade them. So I'm going to trade in my Bombardier, level 1. And that's Magus. So he's going to put an artillery over here on Ignis. And then we're going to trade both of the mage towers in. And I'll show you what the level 2 ones look like in just a moment. I'm going to have to pick stuff back up. Okay, so my level 2 towers now, they give me, instead of an L shape, they give me a Z shape. So I gain basically one extra little thing, but I also have 3 directions to go. So it's definitely be more beneficial because I have more options. And then the artillery is a little bit better, a little bit worse, I guess. I guess not worse, but because I can go 1 left, 1 right. So and I also gain 1 straight forward for 2. So I gain 1 extra damage forward, plus an extra 1 left or right, depending on which way I shot before. So it'll definitely be better that way. And you can see on the cards that the little pictures are changing for each different upgrade, which is really neat, showing like actually how they upgrade in the game. And then what we do is now we've played our towers, we've played our heroes, we have to destroy horde traps. So we'll just start with the first one. All the spots are covered, that's destroyed. Ignis, however, is going to take a point of damage. And we'll just put the tiles back. Now I'm just going to lay the tiles on the table. So move his health down 1. But this horde tray is destroyed, and it's nice to have the little hole back here to push that back out, so you don't have to struggle to get those out. And it's going to show I have 1 crystal. So we gain another crystal, so now we're up to 4 crystals. Now we did not destroy either of the other ones. Now we're going to advance the horde trays. So this one will slide forward 1, this one will slide over, and that's what this nice little. Your trays are really nice because you can see how easy I slid that, and my tiles didn't slide all over the place. So that's really a nice thing. Now some people are like, well, why can't I sleeve these? Because sleeving 1, they won't fit in there probably, or if they do, it's gonna be very tight. 2 is because besides it'll be a little bit thicker because it wasn't designed that way, they're also gonna get they'll slide around on there. But really, honestly, there's not a ton of shuffling. When I had to pick out the 4 horde cards, I just had to shuffle them and do them. And most of the cards are gonna have the same variations of the characters. So it's not like it's a 60 card deck that you're sitting there shuffling together. I'm gonna be like, okay, I have to sort out my 4 horde. Kind of just lay them down, grab 1, grab 2, grab 3, grab 4. All 4 are probably gonna be roughly the same horde enemies on there, just in a different orientation. Some might be a little bit different, but that's not that big of a deal. Alright, so both of those guys move forward 1 space. Now I get to pick up all my towers, so I'm going to pick up my purple ones, and they're going to go back into Magus's hands. And I'm going to pick up my green ones. Ignis is going to go back onto his hero card, because a tray moves, so he has to move over to a different tower. It's essentially, if something moves into their way, they don't just automatically sit on top of it. They have to move out of the way. I can move them here if I want, which might not be a bad idea. Or I can move them up to one of my towers. It's not really a big deal. If there's nowhere for them to move, you just put them back on their card. And the only reason that makes any sort of difference is because he has 3 movements. So if I put him here, I can move 1, 2, 3. I can get to any of these tiles. Some of these boards might be a little bit longer. But if I had to put him back on my board, I do 1, 2, 3. He can still get to any tile. Because they can also move diagonal, so 1, 2, 3. But if he was way over here, if I moved him to this tile, 1, 2, 3 could get to that. But maybe he can't get over to a different one. So it really, this board, it might not make a difference. Other boards, it might, because there might be other heroes in the way. Or Magnus might want to get to a different build site. So it all make a difference. Now Now I gotta spend crystals. Since I only defeated one thing, I have 4 crystals to spend. So either I can buy 2 level 1 towers, or I can buy 1 level 2 tower. I feel like I need to buy another tower for Ignis because he's only got 2 towers right now. So let's see if I can find him some. And plus, if I get a level 2, I could potentially upgrade him to level 3s, which would be even better. I might just have to like try and beat this, maybe stave off another one, start upgrading to some 3s right away. But we'll see what happens. I don't want to get too far ahead, just because I know what's coming. But some of these knights might not be, or soldiers might not be a bad idea to have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 3 crystals. You just shove them over there. And we're going to buy the Footman Tower for Ignis. So you can place that on one of the build sites and it'll drop 2 soldiers on there. And they have to go on the same tower unless it says something differently. Like they show like the different arrows. Alright. But they don't necessarily have to go right next to each other with the soldiers. Alright, so then we start the next phase. So that was turn 1. We did, you know, did we do good? Did we not? I really can't say. Again, I focused last time destroying all these things, and then I fell behind. So I'm hoping maybe I'll do better this turn. Alright, let's see what we can do here. We have to summon new ones. So we have these 2 spawn tokens, 1 and 2. If they're multiple paths or different piles, then you spawn 1 from each one. Instead, I'm just going to spawn 1 from each pile. So now we're going to have a little bit harder enemies. So this is the new tile. And it will show like the yellow down there with the purple. And the other one showed green, just to show what the backs are. To help keep them a quick identifier on what color you're looking at. So we're still going to have our little goblins. This card's really spread out compared to the other ones. The other thing is we have these wargs. And what they have is a little speed arrow, which means it moves twice. So during that phase when I shifted everything, it's going to try and move 2 spots. The only way for me to truly prevent this is to cover up all 4 spots. Even if I don't cover up everything else, unless I cover up the 4 arrows, it won't move twice. It'll still move 1 spot though. And if I cover up 3 of them, and let's say I have a hero standing on there, or a soldier, it's going to try and move the first time, not move because there's a soldier or hero, deal 1 point of damage, then it's going to try and move the second time because I had 1 symbol showing. So these cards can get nasty very quick. This is what also makes the game very hard, especially with this one. I feel like this is probably a harder mode than the other one. So now I have to summon number 2. So I have the same thing. I have a bunch of goblins, a bunch of wargs, but there's no spot here. So he is going to jump, move here, push Ignis out of the way, and now I have all 4 spots filled up. So if I want to stop everything from moving, I need to focus on these 2. Because, again, if I don't, they're going to move 2 spots. This one's going to move. So even if I destroy this guy, he's going to move 2 and escape. And if I don't do anything here, if I don't get anything, this guy's going to move 2. He's going to, well, it'll move 1, but then this guy's going to, if everything's still in his way, he's going to keep moving through everybody. So my options are try and cover up these so this guy doesn't move twice. Probably destroy this one and let this guy move twice if I need to. Maybe if I can cover up those spots, great. But we'll have to see what we can do. So I gotta pick up my hero cards again. Alright, so we have some options, don't we? So I think, first of all, we're going to move Ignis again. Let's move Ignis right here. And I don't have to use his ability right away. I probably will, but I don't have to. I'm going to. So his ability says I can place one of these. If I only cover up 2 instead of 3 things, I can then place an additional one on each. So I'm going to cover up those two. And then now I can go dig through his hero tray. I can find two more. So now it goes on each additional one. Or each adjacent horde. So I'm going to put one there. So that defeats that horde. And then I'm going to place one on that guy. Hopefully that's the spot I want him. So that takes care of those. I do have some of these mage towers I can play. So I think we're going to actually just play our level 1 mage tower. Ooh, you know what? We'll play a level 2 mage tower there, and that gets me a Z, which I have to play in that direction, but I can use that to cover up there. So now this tile won't move twice, so this will be defeated, this will slide forward one unless I defeat that. I still have Magus to use, and he can drop a bunch of stuff down as well. So I do want to keep some of my level 2 towers. So I think what we'll do is we'll play, Ignis will play his artillery there. So I can play a double bombardier on one of these. I think we'll cover up those two. I also get to play a single one on left or right, because there's nothing there, but I can play one over here, and we can cover up that ward, which gets us one less to deal with. Let's play our 2 soldiers right there. So now we're going to play some shoulders. So we're going to do this. These 2 soldiers are going to cover up those wards. So now, what I need to do to try and finish off this turn is what I really need to do is I need to cover up that ward so that thing doesn't move twice. My soldiers will die, so then the next time you'll have to do it again. But at least it prevents that guy from moving twice along the field. If I cover it up, he'll try and move, and it'll just be one movement. They'll both die, even though the icons are then revealed. They won't move a second time. But I have to cover up that one guy first, and I only have these 2 towers to really do that with. Ideally, I also want to get rid of this, because that gets rid of 2 tiles. But I think I need to do is I need to pass some of these towers, though, so that we can actually gain some beneficial stuff. But I need to figure out what works best. So I could move now. Just saying, I could move Magus here, and now you can play one spot forward or left, and that's what I think I'm going to do. Is now we're going to place that one there, which will cover up that. Now I could have tried to move him to like this build tower, but then he could have placed a tile there and a tile there, which I could have then covered up 2 there, which would work too. But the only thing I would have left then to cover up this is I would have to use one of my mage towers. Or do I want to do that? That's actually a good question. So now I do have my adept tower, which lets me play a Z. Yeah, why don't we do that? We'll place that there. That'll cover up those two spots. Magus can do 2 movement that direction. Can drop a 2 rotatable tile there. And a 2 rotatable tile there. So now I could try and play my other towers and see about beating the rest of these, but I need to upgrade them. So we're gonna pass. Magus is going to go ahead and pass an archery and a mage tower over to Ignis. So we're going to get the archery level 2, which is the marksman, and the mage tower level 2. And now one thing to keep in mind is there's only, so many different level towers, so I'm only going to be able to gain so many at a time. And then we're going to pass the bombardier over and get a level 2 bombardier, which is the artillery. We haven't seen the marksman level 2, so now it's going to give me a L square that is rotatable in 3 directions, which is better than the original marksman. It's just a 2 straight up and down. So that'll definitely be helpful there. And then now we're going to do our destroy the Horde phase. Alright, so we're going to destroy this first one because everything's gone. So again, we're just going to dump all my tiles out over here so I have to keep digging back in there. Flip that over. It'll give me 1 crystal. Destroy the one Ignis is standing on. It'll place him there. You'll also give him a point. So he's only got 1 more hit. So if he takes 1 more point of damage, he'll get KO'd. And then I'll have to come back to the tile and I won't be able to use his ability for a turn. Again, ideally, the alternative is if he goes back and I don't use him for a turn, he heals fully. Or I could put him on a spot and just recover and take the damage. Or I could just move him off to the side and not use him for a turn. So we gain 1 more crystal from that one. So that gets us back up to 3 crystals so I can buy another level 2 tower. And then we check the other 2. They were not defeated. So now the hordes are going to advance. This guy's going to advance forward 1, so Ignis will move. This one will advance 1. And then these guys will both take a point of damage and they're destroyed. And now it's going to reveal those wargs, but they're not going to do anything. But hopefully that helps me. I'm not sure if I can win this yet. Keep my fingers crossed because I still have to summon 2 spots and there's only 2 empty hordes. So as long as I'm only keeping 2 spots open or defeating 2 things every time, I'm not getting really far ahead. But these 2 are mostly destroyed, so that's good. Let's pick up our towers. So we'll pick up our purple ones. They go back here. We'll pick up these 2. They go back there. So I have 3 for one, 4 for the other, because I've only bought 1 tower so far. And now I can spend my crystals to buy another 3. So I'm going to spend all 3. We're going to buy another level 2 tower. I don't have any mages or artillery towers. I should have some artillery towers. I do. I don't think I have any mage towers left, though. I don't want to buy more soldiers, only because the portal cards that are coming up don't work with them. I think we're going to buy another artillery tower for Magus, just because it has that versatility of hitting 3 different locations versus the archery tower only being able to hit an L spot, which is definitely nice. Gives me more coverage on one card. But it'll be nice to have something. So I might have to do this turn. It's definitely probably have to put Magus down, have him stop something from moving. Because that should help me there. But let's see what we can do. So that was the end of that turn. So that'll be the end of round 2. And then we'll see what happens in round 3.